yeah. Y'all like that? How's that? New intro. Oh, yeah. All right. I hope my sound's good. Welcome, everyone. It's Monday. We are here to have another conversation to bring awareness and encourage conversations on mental health, disability, and trauma. I'm so excited. All right. Everybody, I hope everyone's had a great weekend and had time to relax. Thank you again for being here. I always enjoy our time together every week. Well, almost every week, right? I've taken a couple weeks off, but last week we were here. We're back another week. We'll be here next week, hopefully, to kick off a week. I'm your host, DJ, visual descriptor. I'm a female Latina brunette with silver streaks, light olive skin, brown eyes, and I'm wearing red lipstick and a white shirt today, and I have my positive affirmations background, which I'm thinking about changing, and I don't know if I'll ever have a chance to share with everyone why, but we'll see. And I'm just excited to be here. So I just wanted to say hello to everyone that's coming in. Please share and subscribe the stream. It would really mean a lot to me. I'm streaming to LinkedIn, Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, and I think that's it. But tonight's guest is going to be exceptional. I'm really excited to have a conversation with them. And I'm excited for everyone to be here and join us. So let's see who's in the chat. People are coming in. I'm so excited. We've been here almost, 2 years. This is my season 4. I'm really excited again to continue to these conversations that we do every week. Oh, thank you so much. I'm really, really thrilled. Okay. So again, like I said, season 4 is here and we are accepting sponsorships. I always like to say that. Loved my show to be sponsored, and anyone that's interested, please reach out to me. I would love to talk to you. So tonight, we're going to go ahead and get ready for tonight's conversation. And normally we talk about heavy subjects, difficult issues. And tonight, I think it's going to be hopefully not so heavy. We're going to have a nice conversation with someone that I met at PodFest, because PodFest just provided the most amazing opportunities to connect with people. Always want to encourage individuals. Go out to those conferences, network, put yourself out there. You don't know what is ahead of you, what opportunities can arise. So thank you to PodFest for this guest as well. Tonight we're streaming by Restream. Thank you to Restream again for powering us as we continue and move forward. And I just paid my annual plan, so we're in it for another year. Okay, friends, let's go ahead and get ready for our guest intro, and then we will get to the chat and I will say hi to everybody. I'm excited to see who's here with us. So tonight's guest is Josiah Fogle. He's an author, speaker, entrepreneur, a coach, and a family man. He's raised overseas in the Philippines with an army of siblings and in his faith. Josiah is now a devoted husband and father of 3, and he loves to get his creativity inspired. He's written 3 children's books so far. They're on Amazon, and we'll be sharing that. And he is grounded in his faith, and he is inspired by his family. He also leads over at the Self-Publishing School, where they really change people's lives through publishing books. And I cannot wait to talk about that specific topic, our stories, and publishing. So he has seen the power of storytelling while aiding others as they conquer their fears, overcome their challenges, and those limiting beliefs that we all have. He believes in people and in coaching to inspire them to get to their goals. All right, that was really great. Let's go ahead and get Josiah out here.
Wait, who are you talking about? That's not me, is it?
That's you. That's you.
Oh,
that's
man.
you. All
I gotta live up
right.
to that person now.
Oh, no, this is great. Thank you for being our guest tonight. And I can't wait to hear all about you, your story. Let me say hi to the chat. Join me in saying hi to the chat. Chat, get to know Josiah today. Mackenzie is the best mod ever. They'll be all over my stream.
Mackenzie?
Yes. Jenny. Hello, Jenny. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you. And an
Mackenzie
amazing
like the shield.
Denise. Yes. And
Hi,
Denise,
Denise.
what's up? Hi. Yes, this is really
We've also
nice.
got Anthony.
Anthony's here. Anthony Reed. He also podcaster, talks about kidney trails,
Hmm.
writes books. So, it's just a lot of amazing, inspiring, creative people here. And it's going to be a good conversation. We're going to be full of energy. I can tell by your background already. You got lots going on in your heart and in your mind.
This is a little window into like life at our house. We've got baby Yoda, we've got rugby balls, we've got Legos. I don't know if you can see them, but Legos right here. And anyways,
Oh, no,
the
but this is
fun, the
good.
joy.
Good. Yeah. This is awesome. I mean, I'm just so excited. I know when we met at Podfest, and again, I can't thank Podfest enough for these connections.
Yeah, that was fun. It was an awesome event.
Yeah. So, and then I met you at the booth. The booth that I stayed
Hmm.
there, I think 2 days I was at your booth chit-chatting with you. And I just had so much fun talking about writing and publishing, and you picked my brain so much and got me thinking. And so now you're here, and I want to understand more about you and what you do and why you're so passionate about it. And you gave me so much
Hmm.
time, and I want to give you back some time as well to really understand where that passion comes from and that encouragement that you have, that you want to give people to open up and share their stories.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I mean, I think like to kind of give you the answer to like where does it come from and how did I start with the books and all that. I
yeah,
think
yeah.
first and foremost, it's like I saw a really good example growing up, and so I looked to my parents for a lot of the way that they raised me, which has made me into the man who I am. And that's kind of where my books came from also, and they're called Stories with Grandpa. There's just the three of them. Actually, there's four of them now. Got another one
Oh,
out so since then,
right
but
here. Uh-huh.
yeah, there it is.
I
And
had to get one. I had to ask. There was no way I could be like, "Where's your book? What's your book about?" That was one of those questions that I needed to know.
yeah, so these were actually, and if you're listening to this and you've ever had the desire to write a book, like this was something that I had thought about, and it took about 5 years ish to have it come to fruition. And it was interesting because my really the inception of the books was in a very like high and low moment of life.
Yeah.
We My dad was battling cancer for the second time, and um and he lost. And he ended up
Mhm.
passing away, and that
So sorry.
same week we found out we were pregnant with our first. And it was like this, like, I'm gonna be a dad. I lost my dad, and like he was like Superman. He was like my hero. Like he like there was nothing that he could not do. And so it was a really tough time. And I remember thinking
Wow.
and seeing my one of my nephews at the time reading a book that like a couple of weeks earlier my dad was reading with him, and just like the emotions that just like would flood. And in that moment I was like, I need to do something to capture this legacy, and to be able to share his stories with other people, with my boys specifically. Now I've got three. And that was the inception of it. And I started writing notes and stuff. I had like things everywhere. As most people, like when they're like, oh, I want to write a book. So you start taking notes in your phone. You've got notes on paper. You've got a Google Doc. You started in
Absolutely.
hopes of doing it once.
That's it. Yep.
And right, like I mean, like
That's it.
who's not like
Wow.
thought to themselves, I want to write a book. And now the cool part was one night I was reading with my boys before bed, and it was one of those times we were reading the same book like the 100th time. And it's like, if you give a mouse a cookie, um, he's gonna want a glass of milk. Yeah, anyway, like all of those, and you almost are reciting them from memory as opposed to like reading it, and your eyes are
Reading
glazed
it for the
over.
first time. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I was, you know, reciting the book because I was tuned out a little bit, which don't tell my kids that. And I thought to myself, I was like, man, I could do this. Like, I could, all those notes, all those stories, I could do this. And so that's kind of when I actually went through the self-publishing school children's book program that we had, which, you know, I was fortunate to be able to be
Oh,
working. Yeah, I was working with self-publishing school, and it was awesome because I learned from someone who had been where I wanted to go, like a children's book author who's
right,
had
right.
multiple successful books, and that's really how the authorship came about. Was like I learned from them, and just, you know, like put things in order,
Wow.
one step at a time. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. And so I ate an elephant, and I published a book.
Boom, there it is, folks. Show's over. No, that was great. That's incredible. See, I found that so inspiring. Just all that, how you capture all that. And there's so many stories so similar out there that, I'm sure you've heard and you've helped
Yeah,
aid individuals through getting all that stuff inside of them too. I
yeah,
I get goosebumps by just thinking of that emotional journey with someone in through that process of their own.
yeah. And I remember when we were talking, and just like my so the team that I lead at self publishing school, we are we are some of the first people that prospective authors, like future authors, will talk to in their journey of publishing. And it's like the first conversation of like, hey, what's your story about? You know, like, why do you want to write it? What's and I just like when I was looking at the, you know, the title of your show, and just in our conversation and all that, it's like, man, everyone has a story, and a lot of the stories are hard. A lot of stories are tough, and sometimes they are about hope, and they are about, you know, like the my stories of like, oh, I'm sharing my dad's legacy. But a lot
Yeah.
of them are, you know, sharing things that aren't as happy. But it's that same process of going through that refining of the story to tell it in a way that is honoring of the story, and letting it sort of be known in that way. Which is, I think it's a beautiful thing.
It is. And I caught that in our conversations and I'm like, I have to capture that for my show somehow. And I knew that's why I wanted to have this conversation. I mean, it's all of those things. It's you and your story and then how that translates into what you're doing and how you just want to shine that light for other people. And it's so similar to what I do in that medium. So I think that
Hmm.
that's really what it is, the way that we do it, but we do it in different ways. And it's a process that is so rewarding and so fulfilling, and that people on the receiving end that are actually going through those journeys, that they're getting to a better place and you're part of that.
Yeah, no, 100%. Do you mind if I share about one of our authors that we've worked with?
Sure.
Is that cool?
Well, I mean,
So
yeah, I mean,
this is actually, so when it comes to like letting your mayhem be known, and just
yeah,
like impact. This is
right.
Justin and Alexis Black. Their book is called Redefining Normal, and this whole book is their story. They both grew up in foster care, and
Mm,
they did not know each other. And then they met in college, kind of like the untraditional meeting, and then they got married, and now they are like literally like they're rewriting what life looks like, because they didn't grow up seeing what, you know, a healthy marriage was. They didn't grow up seeing like,
mhm.
and it's like just redefining everything about their lives, and they are writing their new story. It's just so cool to be able to
For
see
the new next
people do that.
generation.
Yeah, yeah. And it's, I don't know, it's just really, really cool that there's such
Absolutely.
a there's such a cathartic um, nature to writing a book. Like there's healing in the process, and one of the things that we talk about at self publishing school is it's not just about the book and writing it. It's about who you become in the process of writing it, because there's a lot that happens.
I
So
can imagine how scary that is. Just to have to face that mirror, face that fear,
yeah,
face that story again and retell it and be true to it. Oof.
yeah.
Okay, all right. I know you. This is good. I knew this was going to be good. Okay, Mackenzie, you the best. Okay, Mackenzie, I'm going to go through all the comments. Family brings so much to our lives. Absolutely, best mod
Mm.
ever. Checking all the channels. Hey, hey, Captain America. Bookshelf background always looks nice. LOL. Gotta respect. As an author, I like when let those books talk, run wild.
Mm. Yeah.
Okay. I have notes on my walls. LOL. You write them
TJ,
wherever you can.
isn't that your book,
These are
TJ,
my
on your
notes.
wall?
These are my notes right here. Yeah, they someone else wrote them. I'm just paraphrasing them, borrowing them, but I give credit where credit is due.
Mm,
There's so much
dude.
healing in releasing your story. And that's what, like, I think the real purpose of this episode and in this show with you and how you've seen this, it's happened to you, you're helping others do it. You're going to continue. I mean, speakers, people that have these messages, organization. I mean, anybody can be an author. Everybody has a story. So I shouldn't, just say one or two, but it's just really digging into that fear, into that, oh, I don't know if I can tell this story. How do you get through
Yeah.
that? How did you get through it? How do you help others get through it? I mean, you can tell us a little bit
Yeah.
about the process because I want to really hone into the healing properties that it can offer someone because it's scary. But once you get
It
past
definitely
that,
is.
once you break that, then what comes next?
Yeah. So I think it's easy to say what comes when you get past that, but like that right there, like when you say getting past that, it's a big that, and
That's a big
that's
that.
different. It's different for every person. Some people are like, oh man, I'm just not good enough to be a writer. No one's gonna want to read my stuff. There's other books about this out there. Like people can write other books. Like you can read other books.
Makes sense.
And
Yeah, all the
I think,
limiting beliefs.
yeah, 100% limiting beliefs. And I think the first step is like making up your mind and like committing to it and being like, no, you know what? Like now is the time. And there's a crazy stat. It's like there's like 80 something percent of people say they want to write a book, and only like 1% of them actually do. It's some ridiculous stat like that. That's probably wrong, but
We don't know. We're not saying that's a stat.
we're not. This isn't a stat show.
It's not a stat show, but
But
not enough
so
people are out there, right?
Yeah.
Really gonna accomplish this goal.
Once you set your mind to it, and once you decide, no, I am going to do this, and once you commit to it, like the single next biggest thing is, well, I guess there's two things. The first is really figuring out who this book is for, and we like to call this your avatar. Who's the avatar? And I like to tell people as I'm coaching them, like, like when you think of your book and the one person that reads this book and their life is completely changed because they read your book. And it doesn't have to be a self-help book. It could be a memoir. It can be, it can be a fiction book even. But like, who is the person that their life is going to be different as a result of reading this book? And think about them, and know who that is, because that's who you're writing the book for. And so once you know that, then what we tell people to do is like the second biggest piece, know your avatar, and then the second biggest is just getting everything out. And so we have this process that we call, it's called an acronym called MO, mind map, outline, write. So MOW. And through this process of like just dumping the ideas from your head onto paper, organizing them into an outline, and then writing. Oh yeah, it's almost like it's in a book.
It is a very familiar book.
but the reason this is so important is because the biggest thing the biggest hindrance for people to get their books written is getting the rough draft done. And so many
Mm.
people will get so hung up on they'll start writing the introduction. You don't start writing it like that's a horrible idea. You don't just sit in a room and write. It's we actually tell people like block out 45 minutes. Mind map for 10,
Hmm.
outline for 10, and then write for the other, 25. Like don't try to write your whole book in one sitting. Like that's how people go insane.
Like write it,
Um
like write it, like you're writing the book page by
yeah,
page in order as if
that's
already. No, no.
that's not I mean that for some people that might work. I'm not saying that doesn't work at all, but for the majority of us, that's not going to get us to a book. Now, if you break it up into those pieces, it makes it so much more manageable. And at the same time, also, since you're not just like freehanding it and writing it as a journal, it's less emotional, or
Hmm.
it's easier to process because what you're doing is you're dumping the ideas out, like you're getting all the ideas out, and then you're figuring out, okay, with these ideas, how do I tell this in a good way? And some people like get a little like icky about this because it's like, no, but you want to tell a story in a way that people want to read the book. Your book isn't should not be just a bleh, like a word vomit onto paper. Like nobody wants to read
Right,
that. Let's be
right,
real.
right,
Like people want
right.
to read a story that engages you. That
Yeah, yeah.
for kind of in tandem with the show, it's like you don't want just people to come on the show and just hear you talk. You want them to hear you talk and be like, "Oh my word, DJ, oh, you understand me. Like that's me. You're
Right.
DJ, like you're me." And then as a result of being on this show, you want them to understand there's hope. You want them to
Mm.
understand there's something beyond that. That that it's not you're not stuck here. Like there's hope
Right.
and there's a
Okay.
silver lining. And so it's
Yeah.
bringing people through that and then connecting them with the underlying values of
Mhm.
why you're doing what you're doing.
Hmm.
So we're sort of writing your
Wow.
book on this show. Let's go. Let's go.
Yeah, no, I mean, but I don't know any of this, honestly. And for you to break it
Mm,
down into something so digestible and really you can, it's, it's not something that we're gonna tell you go and write and come back.
yeah.
So, there's so much more to it. And there's a lot of self exploration and there is a lot
Hmm.
of analyzing what you want to put in and what's relevant and what's going to capture that message that you really want to share and really the essence of your story. And so but I know
Yeah.
different people write different books in different ways, but I think, in for the books that for our avatar and for those individuals that
Hmm.
have these more deeper, harder stories with a lot of um I don't know, hardships, as
Yeah.
opposed to, an inspirational book or something motivational
Hmm.
that is a lot more. I mean, I don't know, there's so many different books or something being a
Hmm.
lot more like a cookbook, right? Recipes, things
Yeah.
like that. So I can only assume that, I mean,
Yeah. And in the
but
chat here, we've got your Saturday night. He
yeah.
says it was 15 years before I
15.
put everything together for my first fantasy novel. And honestly, that's not uncommon. I talk to
Hmm.
like my team talks to a lot of people who it's 15, it's 20 years. And even though it's a fantasy book, it's still you're still sharing the things in your book. They tie to real life, and they're it's like
Yeah.
finding a way to share them in a way that connects with who you want this book to be read by.
Yeah.
And sometimes you know what the avatar is maybe a younger version of you. Mic drop.
I love that. I wish I had my little button to hit the sound effect
What?
button right there. Yeah, that's incredible.
Mm,
I mean, again, for me, this is really what this episode is about and how we can encourage people to not be scared. Take down those notes when you feel those moments of inspiration in the shower, that thought of,
mm.
oh, capturing those ideas, and then you can funnel through it later. There's people available that can kind of help you, but all these stories really do um matter, and
Yeah.
it's important to get them out there and share.
This makes me think, if you don't mind me sharing another one more story.
Ah, go.
It makes me think of a buddy of mine. His name's Matt, and he wrote a book called Where the Rubber Meets the Road.
Hmm.
And he, just like our Saturday night, our Saturday night. I don't know how to say that
Yeah,
in like a.
yeah. Your
Anyways,
our
your hour. Anyways,
our.
it took him 15 years to write his book, and Matt was telling us this story. Me and a couple of their friends, and the story is about a friend of his named Carl. And Carl was one of Matt's like close friends from college, and there was like 5 or 6 of them, and they were pretty close, and they made some pretty dumb decisions in college, like a lot of us did. Um,
Just a few.
However, yeah, and Matt, the story that started with Matt getting a call from Carl, and in this moment, Matt's heart kind of sank because the last time he had seen Carl was at the funeral of one of their buddies. Now they had 2 of those 6 people actually committed suicide, and it was in Matt. I remember Matt like kind of like shaking a little bit as he was telling us, and he's like, it was in that moment his heart kind of sunk. He's like, Carl, like, how are you doing? Like thinking through all the things, all the thoughts going through his head, like how far away is he? How fast can I get there? What kind of ledge am I talking him off of? Like, also all these emotions that he was like sharing with us, and Matt was like, Carl, how are you doing, man? And Carl said, I'm okay. No, Matt, I'm not okay. I'm actually great. And Matt's like, what's going on? Is this guy high or something? And Carl went on to say, Matt, I want you to know, like, I haven't been to church in years, and I just finished reading your book. And Matt's book's about his identity and his faith journey too. And Carl was like, I haven't been to church in years, and I read your book, and I just felt like I needed to give you a call and share that I went on Google and I found, a church, a closed church. I'm going this weekend. And like Matt was like, man, in like for the 15 years it took him to write that, getting that call made it all worth it. It was like, and you may never, your Saturday night, you may never get a call from someone saying, oh, you changed my life because I read your book and it was so awesome. But like those moments, like books change lives. Like they literally do. And it doesn't matter if it's a fantasy book or if it's a self-help or if it's a children's book, like they literally change lives. So I just felt like I needed to share that. I feel like that would kind of fit.
I love that. It's so true. I think, again, it goes back, like, why it's important, why people should consider, like, don't hold back. If you have this feeling, if you have these thoughts, if you have the desire, don't let those limiting beliefs, because it can change lives. It can save lives. It helps other individuals gives them another option to find a way. So I think that is so important. Now, I'm going to just ask you a quick question as a joke, or maybe not as a joke, but as something. You said self-help books, self-development. Now, I've heard that they're changed, right? Now it's called, self-development books. They're not called self-help, but I think they had changed the word, the category, the niche of the book. So I just didn't know if you had heard that. That was it. It was just, I know I had.
I had not. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know who's in charge of those categories, but
it's like when you go to the bookstore. And, so I don't know.
I'm not very good with being very, very PC, politically correct. PC. Like I'm like,
yeah.
Now you got me all red.
Oh no, I no. I was just wondering if you had heard that, like through the, in work and through here,
Yeah.
people that fall into that niche, if it was something that had come across like recently, because. But it's
I
okay.
mean, I think it
That
all
would be me. I would
depends.
fall into that
Yeah.
category. Okay, that would be the kind of book I would write.
Yeah.
I think. I don't even know what kind of book I would write. I wouldn't even know where to begin to kind of know what kind of book I would write. We had this conversation. It doesn't matter, but
Yeah.
for people that want to write a book,
Oh.
self-publish, right here. Right here's your connection, your contact, full of heart, full of passion to guide you and aid and help you. I mean, this is incredible. So I know we haven't really been talking about you and your story and your book and
Mhm.
you're going back to that. And I know you touched on it. And I do want you to, also get into that a little more about
Mhm.
like the importance of that. And the generational thing is really beautiful for me just because of my work background. And you've already talked about child abuse and generational patterns and whether it's cancer that affects us, that relationship of your father, all that you had to go through and passing it on in a legacy which about you and who you are, that is absolutely like spectacular and just so I find that so beautiful that you want, and now you have 3 boys. So I assume, you didn't know you were gonna have 3 boys. And I don't know if you
Mhm.
have brothers or your sibling relationship. I mean, you loved your father and your grandfather has inspired these stories. So really there's a lot of generational stuff,
Yeah.
as to you and your story. So I just, I
100%.
can't I got to give so much kudos and admiration for that.
Yeah, it's been definitely been fun. And kind of going back to the generational and books changing lives. Like
Mhm.
it's funny. My dad was a missionary in the Philippines. Like that's what he dedicated his life to. He grew up in suburban Chicago, like in Elmhurst, Illinois, and Chicago suburbs, and he went to Miami University of Ohio. And after graduating, he had a pretty good gig lined up for work. Like he was a computer engineer and was started a career that was going to be a very good career. Um, and it was actually a college roommate of his that handed him a book. Like he handed him a book, and it changed his life. It changed the trajectory of his life. It was called The Late Great Planet Earth by Hal Lindsey, I think is the name of the author, and it introduced him to becoming a Christian, and he became a Christian and went to a Bible college and moved, literally picked up and moved to the Philippines to serve there and to be
So that one book. Yeah.
that one book did that. And then that's where I grew up, and that's where I was raised. I
Okay.
was raised in a culture that was completely different than here. um got a
Wow.
lot of people popping in now. What's up? I got
Yeah, I don't know. It has 7 o'clock. So yeah, everyone must have gotten off another stream. Hop over to this stream. What's up, friends? Gabe,
Let's
thanks for
go.
popping in.
Yeah, and
Salty, what's going on the other side of the globe, my friend? Thanks for dipping in to say hi and poof off. I love it. Oh, that's so fun. And yeah,
oh
Alex,
man.
what's up, mama? Oh, I hope you had a great weekend celebrating birthday for your little one. But,
Hmm.
it's yeah, family, lots of family. It's the weekend. Everyone's with their family doing their family things. Mackenzie's birthday was yesterday, so happy birthday to
Happy
Mackenzie.
birthday.
We've got to give a shout out on his birthday. Celebrating. So yeah, I mean, I just again, I don't know. I'm a loss for words right now, but thanks everyone for hanging out. Let's go to Mackenzie's question then. This will be good.
Mhm.
It illustrates your books. Was it hard to find an illustrator for
Yeah, so that's
your
a great
stories with
question.
grandpa? Yeah, kids'
So
books.
I've actually got
How
two
cute.
illustrators now, and
Wow.
um, the process was kind of interesting. So I was like, where do I start? And so I'd asked a couple of people that had books out, had kids' books, and then I got a recommendation from someone who referred me to, actually, it was like a Facebook group of
Hmm.
an artist Facebook group. And so this is a group for people looking for work, people like looking to hire people, basically like a unmonetized version of like Upworks or Fiverr. Um,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
so I actually posted on there, and I was like, hey, I'm looking for an illustrator, and this is what I'm looking for, because I had in my mind kind of like an idea of like what I wanted, and
Mhm.
I'm great at stick figures. I'm just kidding.
This is
That's
not
not
a
my
stick
work.
figure. This is not a
Uh,
stick figure. No, this is your illustrator's
so
work. So.
I was able to articulate that, and then I had like hundreds of people respond. Now, obviously, like you're sifting through that and figuring out. Hey, look, that's a signed copy.
Yes,
Books
and
change
your
lives,
illustrator,
man.
Rosent Dumlau.
Rosen, yeah, Dumlau. Yep,
Yes,
Rosen Dumlau. She's
there we go.
awesome. And so I ended up getting like a bunch of responses, and then I followed up with people, and then I had it down to like 20 people, and then I had them submit samples, and then of those samples, I had a couple that I paid to do like final renditions of it, and I was choosing between like 2 to 3 at the very end of like ones that I really liked, and then I actually chose
Hmm.
Rosen, and we've been working together now for almost going on a year and a half, which has been a ton of fun, and it's
Good.
been fun also because she's actually in the Philippines, which is kind of cool. Um,
Yeah. All
ties in
right.
with like me growing up there and everything, and the her the serendipitous, or kind of cool how this happened. Her dad actually, because this was like we started right in COVID, and her dad had lost his job, and they had no income, and so it was actually like she
Mhm.
supported the family during that whole like year and a half or year. Not that I'm paying her like millions, but like with the money that I was paying for the illustrations, like it supported their family like for that time. Like it was
Wow.
just crazy.
That's
Like her
cool.
dad's like,
That's
she's like, oh
cool.
my word, like my dad actually isn't working right now, so this is like amazing because like he doesn't, he can't work because of COVID. So it was just really cool, like really cool, and having not only an impact on the people that it's actually been written for, but on the people that have helped be a part of it too. And so I've got, yeah, it's just really really cool. So yeah, I'm glad you
I
asked the
love all the
question.
stories you got. Yeah, that's a cool story. That's a great question. So we got a cool story, and just great work. Uh, Genuine and just from the heart. Like everything, it just seems like it's just so genuine and from the heart. So
Well,
that's great.
hopefully it is.
Oh, it is. It is. No, I mean, and you know what I
Mm,
mean. Wano, what's up?
yeah.
Thank you for coming through, and we love your new logo. I'm excited for her. Uh, so it's been a minute. Oh, it's so good. Let's see. I had a couple other questions, and I had something when you were talking self-publishing, encouraging, digging
Hmm.
deep, take notes. You don't have to write a book next year. You never
Yeah.
know when it will come and find
Yeah.
its
And
way to the
yeah,
surface.
sort of the best time to write a book was what, 10 years ago or 5 years ago, or the best time to start a business 5 years, the best time to buy real estate 5 years ago. What? It's always something like
Right.
that, right? Where it's like the
Right,
best
right,
time
right,
like
right. Yeah.
yesterday. Um,
Yeah.
but I think in writing a book, like there is no better time to start than like the present, um, because you never know. Like you never know who your book is going to impact. And really, when you break it down, it's just like a habit. Like it's getting into the habit of, and some people they will write a
Okay.
book, but they won't publish it because it's like it's there. It's you're getting the ideas again. It's cathartic in that way. It's like you're getting ideas out, you're organizing them, and then you're condensing it into a format. Now, some people might be like, Josiah, I can't write. DJ, I can't write. Like, I have ideas, I can organize them, but I can't write. For those people, we tell them like, and this is kind of me too, because I am this way. Um, I will actually mind map. I'll put it out on paper. Mind mapping is not new. We did that when we were in elementary school or whatever. Hi, Juana. Um, Thank you. And the fun part about it, about my background, is it's actually real. Like it's actual books. It's not a I always laugh when I'm in a room when I'm in a Zoom room with other people and they've got like the virtual background, and I'm like, oh, let me grab this book.
Oh, yes. I
Oh
might have
man.
to ask you, start thinking about like your favorite book back there, your most
Oh
inspirational book.
man.
And you know what?
This.
Yeah, those books, those books. Of course, of course. You know, I just had I was moved by a book as well recently, and
Mm,
I've shared this and I didn't even think of it, but I might have said, but in order for me to get to Podfest, I was given a book by my employer because the they had dropped off the book. What's his oh god Chris from Podfest had dropped off the book when he was giving his presentation, and they handed me the book, and in there it was like how to like pursue those dreams, right, of entrepreneurship, and how to, and I got the book and I was like, okay, and I was in that limbo of wanting to leave my employer, and that book really kind of helped me push forward.
yeah.
So it's for me, I felt that that book was a sign of like there's more to come. There's opportunities. This is representative of that, not to fear the unknown like we most often do. And
Yeah.
we go into whatever things we've told ourselves. But to, I guess to be 100%, yeah. I mean, as we have this conversation, I'm like, that book has gotten me this far because it gave me that kind of like, it's okay, you can let go of the job and there's something else out there if you do what is, you know,
Yeah.
for you continue to
Oh, I love
pursue
this.
it. I know, I'm like, where's that book
This is
now? I didn't
awesome.
grab it, but and I'm like, yeah, and I have shared that story, so that's like 100% true.
Yeah, and
Wow.
like I can name a bunch of books. Like there's The Power of Moments. There's we've
Mm.
all read Start with the Why by Simon Sinek. There's all the Habits books.
Those
There's
are
the
my kind of
Chronicles of
books.
Narnia. There's Lord of the Rings. There's your Saturday nights books that we should all read. Drop a link in the chat.
Drop a
Um,
link in the chat. Yeah. Aw.
uh,
Gabe says, love the Captain America shield in the background.
it's getting a lot of
Yeah,
love tonight.
yeah.
Woohoo!
Yeah. Philip. Aw, thanks for popping in, my friend. What's up? From LA. I hope you're feeling better. Okay.
So
So
I was
all of y'all,
before
right? Keep writing. Go writing. What?
before I got distracted by the squirrel of the bookshelf comment. I think I was talking about like the mind mapping and getting ideas out. And again, this is
Yeah.
you're gonna like broken record here. But what I do, because I can't like I have a hard time writing sometimes, and that's hence why I write kids books.
Mhm.
But the part that I
Great.
do that's different, instead of writing, I'll actually speak it out and then
Yes.
record it.
Me
And this is
too.
huge, 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 huge. And I'll go on walks. I'll get my ideas on a paper. I'll organize them. I'll have a bullet list of things that I want to talk about, that I want to write, and then I'll go walk around the block, and I must look like an idiot to some people, like I'm on the phone, like talking to my
Mm-mm.
phone. But
Nah.
I will record my book, and I'm halfway through my
I
book
do
right now,
that.
like my nonfiction book,
So
which
this
is
is
super
great.
excited.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Ooh, you get me so excited because you talked about a couple different things. Not only talking it out because
Mm.
you want the book to sound like you. So if you talk it
Hmm.
out, the book's going to sound like you. I use Google Keep. I love the little microphone. I go in there. I write my blogs, my personal private, but I write my journal, my blog, like, because it's easier for me to get the actual feeling out when I'm
Mm.
talking. That's why I love live streaming. That's why I've leaned more towards podcasting and the speaking nature of this kind of expression more so than the
Hmm.
writing. So I agree. Even if you're getting those ideas in an auditory, capturing them, it is in your own voice. It is in your own cadence. It is in your own style. Rather than forcing yourself to type sentences.
Yeah.
So, and I love that
No,
because it's
100%.
accessible, right? Like you do it for what works for you in your brain and in your functioning. And it's not about typing it. If you can't type, say it.
Yeah.
So we want to encourage that there's all these different ways and options to making accessible.
Yeah. To share it so that it can be
To
picked
share
up by someone like DJ and change your life and make you want to become an entrepreneur.
Yes, 100%. I mean, the books do change lives. I think everyone can share one book that's probably changed their life. You know what? That's a great question. Chat, there's your question. So, what is one book that has significantly impacted or changed your life?
This is
Ooh.
good. I'm really excited to kind of
Ooh.
see the different things.
I know. Me too. Come on. All right. Don't leave us now.
Do do do
Charla.
do 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 do
Hi,
do.
Charlotte. Thanks for coming by. I want to try talking my book. See? All
Oh,
right.
I love it.
Great.
Saturday night. Oh
Absolutely.
my goodness. He says I talk myself as my characters sometimes to get the flow.
Oh,
That's so cool.
oh, that makes sense. Yeah, to get the nuances of that character and how they write those
Yeah.
emotions, those that language they use, that mannerisms. That would be fun. Okay, that makes sense. I mean, that's cool. If you got that
It's like putting
imagination.
putting putting D&D into real life.
Oh, oh,
Ooh.
you're getting close. You're getting close. You're getting close. You're getting close. All right. Quiet by Susan Cain.
Quiet.
Here we go. We got our first answer for today.
Let's
What a
go.
good question. Let me see if I can ask that question. I should probably type it. What was the question, DJ? Dang it. What book has
Let's change your life.
impacted you or changed your life? In some way. I mean, in some way. That would be nice. I'm going to go ahead and I'll throw it through there and then I'll pop it up. Okay. So I've been a reader as a young person. I was a reader. I love the Choose Adventure books.
Mhm.
I love, what did we call these? Wait, I had self-development books.
Oh my
Um,
word.
I found myself drawn to those. And I know you're a man of faith. I was raised, in faith and Christian in the Bible and that book. I know that book is bound to be an answer to somebody. but
Yeah.
um but I for a
For
long time I didn't read books and now I'm finally getting back into books, like a book club and reading a book and working through chapters. I like when there's an activity to really get you to understand the concept. And I like this book, the publishing school book as well that you have, the Chandler Bolt's
Mhm.
book,
Chandler's
because
Bolt.
it
Yeah.
has a lot of those activities in it. So as I was like skimming it and looking through it, it helps you put those pieces together so you're not wandering aimlessly in your head.
Mhm. Yeah. And
Let's see.
that's a really good one right there. You just popped up on the screen.
Mhm.
And it's amazing how for some people it might not be the like the Carl that I mentioned earlier, like of getting a phone call.
Yeah.
But you're what you're doing for someone is you're allowing them to escape, just like that, where you're allowing them to escape the reality of what's going on and help them cope. Because
Yeah.
life's hard sometimes. Life sucks sometimes. It's just like if we're being honest.
Sometimes. Whew, yeah, no. And lots of times, and that's okay. That's again for me and my show, it's so important that we acknowledge like it's through all these hard times, you got to keep laughing. You got to keep going. We want to,
Mm,
be grateful for what we do have and just the one thing that you get done today or that one step
yeah.
that as you continue to move through that mayhem and get closer to that goal, those goals that you have, that you shouldn't let anything stand in the way, right? That
Hmm.
so important, to I love to encourage people to just maintain their dignity. I feel like that for me is one of those words that's important because so many people lose it because of society and a lot of the things that go around us, and we can be stripped away of those things so easily, and it's like trying to hang on to what is ours and
Yeah.
yeah, because it's so easy to fall for all that,
It
all the
is, and it
heartbreak.
is.
Mm.
Yeah, and just remembering like who you are and your identity, I think
Yeah,
is huge.
yeah, yeah, and I again, when you're helping someone write a book and put it out there for the world, for the public, that is again, it goes back to that first part that you said is so incredibly important. Oh, Chris
Yeah.
Hennessy, thank you for being here. Sometimes you gotta laugh or cry or both in an instant. It's just
Yeah.
the way it goes. Chris, what's good, yo? What's good to you? I know you got your show coming up. I'll be there. I'll be there with you and Gabe. To check y'all out. I got the memo. I gave the same book to someone else when they lost their mom. Oh, I love that. Books have
I'm curious,
incredible
like
power. They're good
what
books
book
to
was
give
it?
that. Oh, okay, okay.
Oh, black holes, black holes. There we go.
Oh, okay. Is
Oh
that
no, it was
the
about black holes?
I gave the same book. Yeah, at my grandma's funeral, I was given a
Okay.
book by my cousin, right? Black Holes and Time Warps, which I've never
There we
read.
go.
I'm not familiar.
Huh.
And I gave the same book to someone else when they lost their mom. So,
Hmm,
um,
that's really
but
cool.
yeah, books are incredibly and I okay, easy question. Who should write a book?
You. you, you, and you.
You in the
I
chat,
think
you over
I
there in the
think
chat.
I think everyone has a book in them, and I
Hmm.
think getting over the limiting belief of why you shouldn't is paramount, not only for you to be an author, but I think for you to fully be who you were designed to be, for you to live out
Hmm.
who you are. I think there's a crystallization that comes from the process, and maybe it's not a book. I'd love to read your book, DJ. Like, honestly, I think it'd be pretty awesome, pretty interesting. Um, but I think it just like this show for you,
Hmm.
it's refining you. It's turning you
Yes.
into a a better person. Someone like you're getting better and better at this every single day, and you are becoming a professional at this. And I think that in writing a book, you establish yourself as an authority, and that, I mean, and that can be for, and this is more the nonfiction side. On the fiction side, it's like being a good storyteller. Um, but the word author, it's the root word of authority, and so it's like it's kind of cool. So who should write a book?
Hmm.
First and foremost, DJ, and I should get a lot of yeses in the chat.
I already got one vote.
But
One vote for
there we go.
DJ.
Oh.
Thanks,
Um,
Mackenzie. You're the best. Oh, sorry. I
so,
pulled up the same comment.
but yeah, I mean, like,
Well,
I think
okay.
that
Yeah.
if anyone wants to write a book, they're like the first thing to do is to try and to start, is because all you need is this, and a pen or something to record with, just to kind of
Yeah.
get the ideas out. And that's really, it's a manifestation of your ideas, and it's an expression of who you are. That's what a book is.
I love
Or you're
that.
sharing
Well,
something, sharing experience. But
yeah. There's just something about so a lot of people have that goal, like you said. A lot of people don't
mhm,
achieve it. And it oftentimes left as a dream, left as a wish.
mhm.
So, but
And
I mean, you got to work hard. You got to pursue it. But
yeah, and I think that um, that's where learning from someone who's been where you want to go is huge. And this is one of the biggest things that we talk about in self-publishing school as a company. It's like, who do you know who's been there, done that, and then done it successfully? That's kind of why we exist as a company, is to help authors
yeah.
through that process. And the method that we use is an author, like author coaching model, where you actually have a one-on-one coach, someone who's going to work with you through the process of the writing, the publishing, the marketing. Like, how do you find an editor? How do you do the formatting? Like, what is the uploading process? How do you market a book? And we work with thousands of authors. We've helped, I think, over 7,000 authors publish, and like hundreds of thousands of books being published, through the system and the process. And the even like people that are really savvy business professionals, like they still struggle because it's like different. How do you
Yeah.
market a book versus
Oh,
something
yeah.
else?
So many
And
things.
so
So many
yeah,
things.
learning from someone like a
I
great
can
way to
see
put it
that
is
why it
like
works. When you're focusing on the book, you focus on the book, on writing the book, and you can really assist with all those other facets that come along with the whole
yeah,
book
and
writing.
McKinsey's 100% right. Like, getting your book seen is the big uphill. And that's so
Mm.
true. Like, how do you get it in front of number one, the people who need it the most? And
Mm.
yeah, that's the biggest thing. It's like, how do you make sure that doesn't just go up there? And so that's what we do as a company. It's like, the book is just the beginning. It's what comes after the book that is huge. Like, the fact that I've been able to, with my books, like, yeah, anyone can publish a book. But the fact that I've been able to consistently sell like over 150 copies a month, like the fact that I've been able to,
Oh,
get messages from people in the Philippines,
right.
of like, hey, I just read your book, and like, I'm your dad, and like, just like, there's all these weird connections to like my boys coming up to me and say, Daddy, can we read Buddy and Grandpa tonight? Like,
Aw, that's sweet.
so it's a
That's I think that,
it's a ton of fun.
and you're leaving your legacy, which is something so important
Hmm.
to you. And that can be God, we're running out of time, and I feel like I have so many million questions. I tried to drop the Amazon link. One is
Yeah.
for one of the books. You can get all the books. You have hardback, you have paperback, you have Kindle, and you have large print. I saw. Is that correct? No, I don't know. Maybe
Well,
yeah, I
there's
might take the large print back, but
yeah.
you have different formats,
Yeah.
and they're available. I put your Amazon author link in there. Go ahead and share your social medias, why people should connect with you. I think we all know
Mhm.
why by the end of this show, but
Yeah.
for you, it's your definition of why, your perspective of why people should reach out to you and what you
Yeah.
can do
So
for them.
if you guys want to, have we do these things called discovery calls with Self Publishing School, and so for me specifically, the I'll give it to you, DJ, and you can put it up, maybe.
Yeah, sure. That's fine. Put it in the chat.
Boom.
Thank you, Gabe, for your sweet comment. That you're absolutely amazing, and I would love to read your book, DJ. You're funny. You're a true inspiration. I had to do that. I had to pull that up, but I appreciate it. Again, I feel like my story, that limiting beliefs, when there's so many other people's stories that just need to be heard first, that need to be known, that
Yeah.
need to be shared. So that's for
And
me
I
again.
think I think when we talked before, it was like, maybe your story is not only your story, but it's your story and a compilation of the stories that you're sharing with people, and maybe that right there is the secret sauce. So I gave you the chat. I gave you the link. You can put in the chat. It's a link to book a call with me on or my team, to talk about your book. Like, if you are on this and you're listening, and you're
Yeah.
like, hey, I want to write a book, or I've thought about writing a book, or if you're Knight and you've got a couple books and you're like, how do I market them better? Use that link, self-publishingschool.com/Josiah, and yeah, book a call. Love to chat with you. And it's like a 15-minute call, so it's like not long, and I'll give you a call. We'll talk about your book and all that fun stuff. But
Yeah.
cool,
Great, great,
DJ.
great.
Thank you so much. This has been awesome.
Yeah, I felt like you had such a wonderful presence and energy, and you're so true about why people should write a book, like the genuineness of the purity. Ooh, can I say that? Ooh, writing a b- writing a book that is but and I
Hmm.
think for me, those are the kinds of clients I would want, is those that are
Yeah.
really committed to that, because that's what really touches the heart and soul.
Hmm. Yeah. Books change
But
lives.
yeah, they do. Yeah, they do. We've definitely talked about that today. Okay, Josiah, you've been incredible. You've been amazing. Thank you, thank you, thank you, everyone. Thank you for being here. Shout out to everyone that stopped by: Mackenzie, Gabe. Kenzie, you were here the whole time. Charla, Chris, Philip, Alex, Juana, Salty came by. I don't want to forget anybody. Okay, I think that was it. Jenny, Denise, Aunt, Rosemary. I didn't even say Rosemary at the beginning when she said my intro was great. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, friends. Thank you for supporting this conversation and Josiah tonight. Let's see. I guess I'm going to go ahead and close it out. We'll hit the outro. If I can find it, I'll take off this comment. And we're going to say good night.
Good night, guys.
Okay.
You guys were great.